After several long years, we finally got to look at Insomniac's next game, Wolverine, and boy does it look amazing. It looks violent and gritty and matches the character so well, and hopefully is nice and introspective on the character himself. Hopefully with a great story like Marvel's Spider-Man over Marvel's Spider-Man 2. And with that, why not look at one of Wolverine's greatest runs that nobody talks about? Greg Rucka's Wolverine, specifically the first volume, The Brotherhood. Let's crack this one open. So Greg Rucka is an absolute talent in the industry. He's written, of course, for Wolverine and Wonder Woman as well. His Wonder Woman series is quite renowned, and he even helped Ed Brubaker, one of my personal favorite comic writers of all time, write Gotham Central, this look at Gotham City's police department as they deal with all sorts of freaky stuff that Gotham throws at them. I don't want to spoil all of the twists and turns of this Wolverine volume, but the general idea is that Wolverine is out for revenge. The story actually starts off really interestingly. I love these stories that give you a look at a character that's from a different perspective, not just from the character themselves, but from an outsider. And this story begins with this lady that works at this diner that always sees this guy. She calls him Mean Man, because, I mean, come on, look at Wolverine. He looks a little mean, right? It's kind of this gruff and tumble guy that looks like he crawled out of the freaking dumpster or something like that. And this woman is sort of going through a harder time and everything, but, you know, the Mean Man kind of stands up for her and everything like that, and she starts to get closer to him and everything, and sees, you know, that maybe he's not just a mean man, but maybe he's got a little bit of a soft center and everything, that he's not just this guy that, you know, sits around drinking beer all day, but he's actually quite a fan of literature. I mean, Wolverine's been around for a while, so I mean, he's got to pass the time sometime, you know? I mean, like, in the 1800s, they didn't have Tetris and stuff to play, so you had to just pick up a book. I mean, there's only two options, really, to distract yourself from the pain of existence sometimes. But it really sort of develops into this nice, meaningful way. It starts off with, like, she's like, ew, you know, this guy's kind of freaky and stuff, man. He looks kind of like a creep. But then she starts to really see, you know, who Wolverine truly is, the man behind the monster, if you will. But then Wolverine sort of finds out that she's, you know, involved in some shady stuff and everything. She just escaped this basically like a cult and everything. So Wolverine's on a warpath and, you know, he's out for blood trying to get these dang cult members out of there. It has such an emotional punch to it too because of what happens to this girl that he meets at the diner. Now, I'm not saying that she gets killed or anything like that, but, you know, who knows what could happen to her. But anyways, the point is, one of the cool things about this is sort of a detective story, something we don't really get to see from Wolverine a lot. I mean, oftentimes, you know, maybe he's on a case and stuff like that as a superhero, but we don't really get to see him in this way. See, for me personally, I think Wolverine in the yellow suit and everything looking like a hero is great for X-Men stuff, but when he's on his own, I much prefer when he's looking like a freaking, you know, junkyard dog. You know, he's all matted and messy, and he's wearing all of his flannel and stuff like that. That is my Wolverine right there. So this really, you know, struck a chord with me. It has a very, like, almost like noir, like swampy kind of feel to it and everything, because he's, you know, he's on the trail. He goes to this, you know, this gun show and everything, and tries to figure out he finds bullet casings and everything because, you know, somebody got shot, and he's like, yes, you know, the people that committed this are part of the cult, and he tries to figure out who it is and stuff like that, and presses this guy and really try to get the information of where this cult is and whatnot. So that's fun. You also have this cool story of this you know, detective person, I think she's from the FBI, that's sort of like working undercover and is trying to like locate Wolverine and everything and try to bring him in and stuff like that because she's heard of some of the things that he's capable of, and, you know, sort of he's been involved in this case that she's looking at too. It's sort of her relationship and Wolverine's sort of goes down an interesting path, and it sort of continues throughout this run. I've only really read 2 of the 3 volumes of this run. I've also read the second volume, which is called Coyote Crossing, which is pretty good, but I feel like the Brotherhood is definitely the best, and if you only read the Brotherhood, then you'll be fine. But Coyote Crossing is pretty cool too. It has some really nice twists and turns and everything, so I do appreciate that as well. But yeah, this is quite a strong story, and one of the great things that it does too, that I feel like the Wolverine game is sort of hitting at as well, that I will get into as well, is this analysis of Wolverine as a character too, the man and the animal. You know, Wolverine goes into these rages and everything, you know, he's not as violent when he's with the X-Men because he knows that these guys are heroes and everything. He should sort of match the tone of that. But when he's on his own, he can let loose, he can, you know, stab and murder and just chop up people to bits. And it sort of leads to the end of this really great, like, introspective issue. Like, the whole issue, all of the issues leading up to this point are very much like he's on the warpath and everything, he's ready to bust some heads, and then after, he sort of has these deeper thoughts and everything about who he is as a person, he asked another member of the X-Men, I won't say who, but it's a really great issue at the end, like one of the best in the whole series, is him sort of asking this person if he's a monster, if he is a rabid animal and stuff, as he has lost his humanity. And of course the person that he's talking to says no, he's still a human. So it really is a deeper analysis of Wolverine and stuff. You get to see him do some cool stuff. You obviously get to see him chop up some people and stuff. I mean, that's always great. But you also get to see him work the beat and everything, and be a sort of a detective-like character and stuff. And you get to see him from an outsider's perspective, so it has a lot going for it. I think the artwork looks great too. It really captures that vibe nicely, this sort of darker, grittier story. It sort of has a little bit of a little noir flair to it over just a standard superhero type story. The artwork is by, of course, Derek Robertson. He's also the artist that does the work for The Boys too. So I think, he really was very well suited for this story and everything. So I do appreciate that. It's very atmospheric as well. There's some panels and stuff that have a lot of like nice blue and everything for a dark night and everything. So I really appreciate that. It's all very well composed. It has some just nice coloring and everything, and just overall matches the grit of the story. So that, of course, was Wolverine from the early thousands by Greg Rucka himself, and artwork once again by Derek Robertson. He only sticks around for the first volume, but the first volume looks fantastic, so it's really a great piece of work there. So that's the Brotherhood, yes. A little fun fact for all you comic fans out there. Back in the day, Marvel used to not relaunch like everything, like every 2 years or so. Whenever a new writer came on, they're like, alright, it's relaunch time. But no, back in the day, they used to keep series running for several years. In fact, this is the start of a series in the early thousands of Wolverine that continues on for quite a while. It stretches up into Old Man Logan. This is all still part of the same continuity. And it even goes into Civil War as well. So this series lasts for a while, but unfortunately Greg Rucka only stays on for about 19 issues. Then it descends back into the normal superhero stuff, which is cool, but once again, I much prefer this sort of junkyard Wolverine look myself. Anyways, let me know if you've heard of this one, if you've read it, and if you go out and read it, feel free to come back and let me know what you think. And anyways, I'll see you all soon.